Disclaimer and blue light special from Kmart warning. This video in no way is blasphemous to Christianity or to Christians. The Holy Grail is not even mentioned in the Bible. The Holy Grail is a story that these people that have their hands and fingers and everything, and they've been doing it for a long time, have carried forth, maybe because they have to carry it forth, but it is a story that actually is meant to take people into the wrong direction. It's in no way blasphemous to the Bible. Okay, let's just get that out of the way now. Hello, this is Matt. This video will explain what the Holy Grail is. What? This arrogant son of a bitch prick has gone too far. Honey, he's going to explain to us after the mysteries existed for thousands of years. He's going to explain to us in a little video what the Holy Grail is. Pull up a chair, honey. Let's listen to this son of a bitch prick. Yeah, I think we can talk about and come to an understanding between you and I of what the Holy Grail is. It's not that hard if you understand how this reality works. There's the first level. Just here we go again, right? The first level, they give the masses, the asses, the proletariats, the great unwashed, and the plebes. People running around out your window still believe it's some sort of a cup or a chalice or a bowl or something that collected Jesus' blood or something that was used in the Last Supper or a hybrid of that or a bastardization of that presented in some movie like the Da Vinci Code, and everybody's still running around trying to find it like Indiana Jones and his father in The Last Crusade. That's the first level. Everything important in this world is presented at least on 3 levels. Then there's a middle level where you can go find this clue and this artifact and why were the Nazis so interested in it. And the second level, it really appeals to all the reality junkie conspiracy theorists that just like to chase soft, yellow, spiced up breadcrumbs. Then there's the third level. The level of where it's not like you go seek out a video and Matt tells you what it is. The third level comes to you. You find it yourself. This is a concept, the Holy Grail, like Humpty Dumpty, that has been artificially carried through time for a reason. And when you realize this, you say, well, wait, what does it mean to me? That's all that matters. So there probably never will be an exact answer. But if somebody realizes there's a spiritual message being carried through reality itself, what does it mean to me? This is the third level where we need to operate. And everybody here listening to the words coming out of my mouth has to do a better job instead of seeking answers from Matt or whoever's doing research here, it's basically understanding when important things are being presented through reality or in reality, like the story of Humpty Dumpty, things like that, comes thousands of times a day now. And we have to stop and say, what does this mean to me? Our own self-interpretation. Here's one reason why the creeps love the conspiracy movement. Matt, they don't like the conspiracy people because they're being exposed. No, they love it. They make love in it, trust me. They're not worried about being exposed. Because somebody might say, I've looked at the back of the dollar bill so many times, I have to finally find out what this means. Let me go out to the internet and YouTube and try to find idiots like Matt and people to tell me what it is. Let me go find Lavette and she'll tell me what it is. We have to start doing, all of us? We have to say, what does this mean to me? We've been here long enough. We've researched enough. Anybody listening to the sound of my voice, you've put the work in, the time in. Anything you sense is important in the way this reality is making its presentation. First, before seeking an answer from an idiot like Matt, stop and think about it all day long. What does this mean to me? Well, Matt, these are things that the creeps are putting out for themselves, not necessarily. Yes, in some ways, let's just take the right eye symbolism or this. When it seems like it's exclusively for the creeps, or they're just patting themselves on their back, there's some sort of, I don't know what to call it, a rule here or something in the contractual language where it also is a message to real spiritual people if they can interpret it properly for themselves. It's not everything that we thought was exclusively for the creeps like this. No. There is a message here, a very valuable message for you if you can interpret it for yourself. I think there's still this mock scene in the book between FDR and I think the agricultural secretary FDR and the agricultural secretary, if I remember correctly, was responsible for putting the Great Seal of the United States back onto the dollar or onto the money. It had not always existed on the money. That we're told this Great Seal of the United States was done in revolutionary days and then kind of put away for 100 years. And I think the mock scene in the book, and basically going, you don't remember your own book? No. It's 4 or 5 years of just endless recording of the fraud, and it's over 700 pages now because of the endless record keeping of the fraud. I don't even remember every section that's in there, and I still have work to do on it. But the idea behind the scene that plays out is something like, it's like a Melvin and Bezos scene, where FDR might say, we really, now that the New Deal's going in, we're really going to ramp up how we're going to screw these people. Oh, it's like a Melvin and Bezos. We're going to ramp up how we're going to screw these people? How do we have to, contractually, if we're going to screw them this bad over the next 100 years, through the Barack Obama and George Bush era, right through the Trump era and the Biden era, we have to give them something. What are we going to give them back? Put the Great Seal of the United States on the money. Give them one of the most powerful spiritual messages of all time, if they can interpret it for themselves. Put it right in something they handle every day. And they'll never think to even look at it. They'll never even stop to think about it when they're passing it back and forth to the guy giving them a greasy slice of pizza. You want to put one of the most important messages of all time into everybody's hands? Oh, don't worry. They won't even notice it. Well, Matt, you going to tell us what it means? No. Spend weeks looking at it. Look at the back of the dollar bill. What does this mean to you? What does your heart tell you, Jerry Maguire? Always do that. Did you hear what I said a few minutes ago? Do that first before seeking the answer from some jerk on the internet like me. This video then on the Grail is bullshit, because I'm going to put in a half hour, and then at the end he's going to say, go seek it out for yourself. He's not. No, this one I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to have you screaming, that's 30 minutes I can't get back. I'm going to actually tell you in this case, because it's obvious, but it's not obvious if, you have to be able to see into the third level. But I will say this, I'm going to tell you what it means to me. You need to see what it means for you. It may be very similar. It may be a little bit different. There is no one meaning for a massive presentation that moves its way through reality. I say artificially, but that's not the right word to use. A concept like the Grail is carried forth through time. Again, I don't like artificial because per the rules here, a massive concept like this, and ultimately finding out what it spiritually means to you, it has to be carried through reality. The creeps maybe contractually know they have to help carry it through reality. They're going to keep doing what they do in the back of their speedboats. They say, we have to keep pushing Humpty Dumpty in the Grail. Yeah, because eventually they might get the spiritual message out of it that's required contractually. Now go back to your little sex acts on the back of your speedboat. Maybe that's how they have to give back for what they give. You take something from Jared's silver plate, pig and blanket, then they have to give something. I don't know. But this stuff, I'm going to use the word artificially, because this is, Matt, you're equating this to Humpty Dumpty? Not exactly. But in a way, yes, we'll talk about that. Let's just talk about the Humpty Dumpty aspect of this in a moment. But I'm going to tell you what it means to me, but you have to decide what it means to you. And if your interpretation is a little bit different, or 30 or 40 degrees or percent different, well, then which one's right? The beauty, both of them. Absolutely, both of them can be exactly right. If what it means to you versus seeking some answer out on the internet from some degenerate like me. Guys, 1 minute before going on to the next new and exciting thumbnail, I highlighted this picture for a reason. If you're at work or something just listening, I'll describe it to you. It's funny as shit. The picture, it's a painting of the Last Supper, and somebody has, with gigantic font, written Holy Grail with a gigantic arrow and a big red circle around the cup. We would have no idea. It just blinks. And the first thing when I saw this, it reminded me of the research I did on TWA Flight 800. Remember TWA Flight 800 and all the conspiracy associated with that 8 or 10 years ago, and all the stupid stuff we used to chase. It blowed up off the coast of New York. And if you did the research on that, you eventually came across a CIA presentation that was like a film presentation, and it blinked, just like the Holy Grail here. Like it blinked, not a missile, not a missile, not a missile. And if we would have had a clue when we were doing that research 8 to 10 years ago, we said, well, if it's saying very aggressively with a blinking and not a missile, then that means it was a missile. But it was probably, that's like everything else. It's a three-level conspiracy. So we're not going to visit that old stuff, guys. But I just couldn't help but laugh when I saw this. Like we would have no idea. It needs to, in this huge font, it needs to point out the Grail. Sorry, guys. That is 2 minutes maybe you can't get back. All right, guys, let's start with the basics. The Grail story is a Humpty Dumpty. And per the warning and disclaimer that started this video one last time, any Christian or getting their back up, if the Holy Grail is not mentioned in the Bible, if you chased the Grail story and you associated it, their Grail story as they've made their presentation about it through the Arthurian legend, if you've chased that, what they wanted you to be interested in, and you've associated that with Jesus, then you've played right into their hands, in my opinion, because this is the story they present. It's a Humpty Dumpty to a degree. Now, those of you know what I'm going to say here. It's the most fascinating topic of all time to me. I'll just do 1 minute to bring the back of the Amish classroom up to speed. It was one of the biggest revelations, breakthroughs I've ever had for myself in understanding how this reality works. So I'll be under 1 minute, guys. Humpty Dumpty is such a bad, stupid-ass rhyme. Whoever came up with it hundreds of years ago, it wouldn't have lasted even until tomorrow. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty. So if Joey told Susan, "Hey, guess what I just came up with? Check this out," Susan would have said, "Well, that kind of sucks. And what are we having for dinner?" It wouldn't have survived into tomorrow. There's nothing to it. It survives because it has to survive. It artificially survives. The creeps in some way have to keep making this presentation. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. It's stupid. But you have hundreds of people, paintings, drawings, figurines of Humpty Dumpty. It's referenced in hundreds of songs, and it's referenced in hundreds of movies. It's impossible unless it artificially has to be carried through time. Well, why would that be? Because it carries a tremendous spiritual message. The way the creeps have to do business, they have to put the spiritual message right under your nose. All the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again because he looked. You crack yourself apart like Humpty Dumpty. You don't look to the king's horses and the king's men. For Christ's sake, you definitely don't look to the damn horses to put your spiritual broke ass back together. You got to put your own broke ass back together. It's that simple. You end up being like this Humpty on the far left sitting on a pot. Spiritual message. It's carried through time artificially. Like all the nursery rhymes, this and that. So this works with everything, though, or not with everything, but it works with the major presentations like the back of the dollar bill, and it works with the Grail. Well, Matt, you're not equating the Grail story to Humpty Dumpty. One is incredibly fascinating. No, it's not that great. It really isn't that great, okay? We've been led to believe how wondrous this Grail story is, and, well, the cup Jesus had at the Last Supper that led to the communion, that led to the Holy Communion, the drinking of the blood and of the eating of the body. And was it Joseph that collected up some of Jesus' blood? That might have been the Grail. It collected up the blood while Jesus was on the cross. That led to more Grail stories and legends. It's only incredibly exciting and world famous because that's what the creeps, they have in some way artificially seen to this. Well, what do they get out of it? I don't know if we're going to get to that. It doesn't. All it matters is the spiritual message it carries for us. I know the cup is significant, but it's not. If it was only what was presented in the Bible, it would have never led to the biggest story of all time. What do we have in the Bible? We have Jesus using a cup or something. He is pouring the wine to the disciples. Drink of my blood. Okay, well, he has to pour it into something. Is he going to use his hands? I mean, he picks a chalice or a cup that's presented, I believe, in Matthew. Fine. Then we hear stories of maybe the blood was collected. That would be more significant if Joseph collected the blood in a chalice. But that part of the story is always way, way downplayed versus the cup that was at the Last Supper. So let's just say all we have are those few lines from the Bible. Jesus poured wine into something. That's going to become basically the biggest story of all time, the quest for that cup. I guess what I'm saying is, anybody really just stopped to think it through? Has any Christian ever stopped to think through these basics? There's a lot of objects, I'm sure, mentioned in the Bible. How did Jesus feed the 5,000 with 2 fish? Was any object mentioned? There's boats mentioned. There's all sorts of objects mentioned. So none of those objects, that Jesus touched those objects, Jesus used those objects, Jesus was on that boat. None of those things is the biggest thing of all time to go find any of that stuff, but it's the biggest thing of all time to find the cup, or that the wine was poured into. Okay, it was more. I'll give you that. It's more significant because it's the Last Supper the day before. Okay, but still, guys, you have to understand the artificial nature of how big the Grail story is. Come on, guy. Everybody here can see it. It's not coming out of Christianity or coming out. It's coming directly from the creeps. Only the creeps can put Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, hundreds, Arthurian legend, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, endless stories, books. Okay, when they do it like that, they're doing it. If you chased it, you did what they wanted you to do, what they wanted you to do. It does something for them, but it also, in my opinion, has to carry a massive spiritual message. Well, let's just get right to what I believe it is. I'll probably lose people. It's getting long. Oh no, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's going to allow Matt to do his dumb voices. Just real quickly, just the one. How do you know she's a witch? Just that. Okay, we're done. Yeah, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, endless Grail presentations. It's mockery. There's a reason this is, well, it's funny too, but there's a reason this is the most famous Monty Python of all time, and it's still shown today, and it's so good because it's absolutely a mockery of, first of all, it's saying this: the quest for the Grail. Here we go again, back to the absolute basics we've been talking about for years. Where are people looking for it? Outside of themselves. They're searching out there for the Grail. It must be here. It must be there. It's a quest. These idiots with their clip-cloppity coconuts, they're searching outside themselves for the Grail. The Grail is the Grail, it means, is your realization, is one's coming to grips or realization of your immortal spiritual nature. That's my interpretation of the Grail. I didn't just force that onto you. If that's not your interpretation, great. I think there can be multiple interpretations for things that carry such an incredible spiritual message. The way the retrocausality language can carry different messages through different songs. People have sent me songs. Matt, listen to the spiritual message in this song. Doesn't speak to me at all. It's personal. The Grail to me, and I put the pieces together in this way for a few different reasons, which I'll explain. The Grail is one's realization that of your immortal spiritual nature inside yourself. Search for the Grail, because here's what gives it away for me, guys, in the way the creeps have made this presentation over a millennia. It's always, what's the one thing anybody knows about the Holy Grail, that people are searching for it, that Monty Python and the group here and their clip-cloppity with their coconuts have been, and their fake horses have been searching for it. The Templars, they searched for it. Oh, the Templars found it in Jerusalem, and then they hid it, and it's a thing that's out there. That the whole reality presents itself in that way. Go find what's out there. Go search this out. Go investigate this conspiracy. When again, it's the same one-sentence answer every time. No, it's in you. It's not sacrilegious or anti-Christian to say that there's. Did you ever think that there's a meaning, a real meaning behind the Grail? What will the creeps try to do? What will they successfully do most of the time for most people? They will hijack and hide the message, and then they will mock it and put it right in your face, like the clippity-clop of coconuts going to find the Grail in stupid, idiotic things like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This is just crystal clear to me, guys, at least in the way they do business. And then you can interpret, potentially, you can see the way they're doing business, even if you're not immediately clued into the spiritual message in something. You could say, well, wait, why are the creeps pushing this so aggressively in so many different ways? Why is this constantly coming up, this certain theme, whatever it may be? That you might say, wait a second, there's something here. They keep pushing this on us over and over again. How many 33s have we seen? How many 9s paired with the 11s have we seen? When they're pushing it, like, don't always think we were bred to believe it's for them. Oh, they're doing it for themselves, for their magic. In most of what they present, there's something very valuable that we can get out of it. In the back of the Amish classroom, those that just came in here might not realize this, but the old guard knows where do they make their most important presentations, or the presentations that are most beneficial to us or most revealing. They put it in the absurd. They put it in cartoons. They hide it in nursery rhymes. And sometimes the rule is the more absurd it is, the more incredibly important message, spiritual or not, it may carry. So this, in my opinion, is what's going on here. If you are searching on the quest for the Grail, and you're doing what the dark part of reality wants and what the creeps want, and you're searching for it around this corner, and you're looking in this mountain, around this mountaintop, and you're searching in this tunnel for it, and it's a quest and nothing is ever found, nothing is ever accomplished. It's a never-ending quest that goes on thousands and thousands of years, and you keep looking for these answers and these wondrous things, like the Grail and other things, like most of the conspiracy chased by this entire community, and you're looking for it outside yourself. You know what you are? What Monty Python is saying? You these imbeciles. That's what it's saying. If you're searching for the most important things outside yourself, saying in the middle box, you these imbeciles, with no horse and a fake clippity-clop, and these morons going around looking for answers outside themselves. Now, Matt, when John Cleves or whatever the guy's name, and they knew that? I don't even know. I doubt they knew it. I think these messages just have to come along for the ride. Do I think there's these incredible insights by these Monty Python people, or the Men in Black came in to talk to them? No, I don't think it works that way. Maybe they did, but I don't think it works that way. I don't think when Kenny Loggins, This Is It, I keep going back to that song, go look it up. Well, Matt, it clearly says that Kenny Loggins, this is it, make no mistake where you are. He wrote that for his sick father. Oh, sure he did. Maybe he thinks he did, but that ain't the message if you listen to that song. In fact, the words in any way don't go along with, sick father. So, it's the same way that damn guitarists from Tool, oh, this is why we use the 7-pointed star, because the cops use it. No, obviously, the message, you have to seek it at the third level, at least. Well then, Matt, what are the knights that say knee? What's that all about? And the gift of shrubbery? I don't fucking know. I don't, that doesn't mean there's a gigantic spiritual message that moves mankind throughout all aspects of every Simpsons episode that ever was made. It's probably nothing. I don't know. Is there some ancient Acacian reference to the shrubbery? Maybe cry out, gift of shrubbery. I don't know. But I do know these presentations all over the world. This one's in Spain. This could be the Holy Grail. The chalice of Doña Urraca. It's a Philly pronunciation. I don't know. Doña Urraca in Spain could be the Holy Grail. Presentations like this are not just ridiculous. They should be offensive. Every single Christian that attended the basilica should walk out and leave it empty. I mean, look at this nonsense. Chalice of Doña Urraca. I don't care to pronounce it correctly. A jewel-encrusted onyx chalice kept at the Basilica of San Isidoro in Leon, Spain. Leon, I know. Which belonged to Infanta Zamora, daughter of whoever. In March, look at this. Look at this nonsense. In March of 2014, Spanish authors asserted the chalice could be the Holy Grail. A claim that had never been made during the roughly 1,000 years the chalice had been kept in the basilica. Now, guys, have I looked into this for days? And do I think the basilica and the structure of the church they've gone out of their way to reject those claims? I doubt it. I doubt it. I bet they're loving those claims. They're probably worked with those authors to make the claims, to get people in and to donate money. Guys, go on, again, I doubt any Christians here are fans of gigantic massive religious or Catholic infrastructures. If you're a fan of gigantic religious, multi-billion-dollar Catholic infrastructures, other than one person that I know that I respect, this is probably not the channel for you. Of course, this is just nonsense to get people to come in and put $1 in the box. Remember this nonsense dish? We looked at this, I guess, when we were studying or looking at the emerald green, the Sacro Catino, Philly pronunciation we looked at, I don't know, this 3 or 4 months ago. In some way, this is related, or they're saying this is the Holy Grail to get people to come in and put $1 in the box. I mean, this is all bullshit. Holy Grail comes down to, I'm going to say it, I haven't said it that much in the last couple of months, comes down to worry about yourself. Holy Grail is in yourself. It ain't trying to find what church has the best claim to the Holy Grail, what basilica has the best claim to the Holy Grail, like the nobles of Scotland and Robert the Bruce had the best claim to the King of Scotland. Who has the best claim to the dishes or the cup? It's all bullshit. And if you chase it outside yourself, you're actually traveling farther away from the true Holy Grail, which is the message, or the retrocausality message is, it's you understanding and discovering your true immortal spiritual nature. Maybe you don't agree with that interpretation, and that's fine. There could be multiple interpretations, but one thing is assured. Just simply see what they want you to think it is, and you know that's not the real answer. They can give away a lot of information and set us on the right path because we look and say, what do they and Stephen, for this example, what do they and Stephen Hawking want me to believe about the universe? They want me to believe this and that blowed up and this. Oh, well, at least we can check that off the list. At least we can cross that off. At least we know for sure that didn't happen. So in a way, they help us in that regard. So if you're ever in this Basilica or Genoa, Italy, wherever this thing they serve the Captain Crunch in, if you're there, go in, ask to speak to the head guy, and say, I appreciate you trying to relate this thing in some way, present this, that it could be the Holy Grail. Thank you for showing me this green Captain Crunch dish, because at least I know it's not that. It might be anything else in the world. This is if you assume you haven't discovered it inside yourself and you're still looking outside yourself. But at least you'll know it could be, at least I know it's not that. You're telling me it's that. So and say this right to the guy that's responsible for the church, or say it right to the bishop, or say it right to his face. Say, at least I know it's not that. It could be anything. The Holy Grail could be a G.I. Joe doll. But thank you, because at least I can check this green piece of shit off my list. Guys, I'm certainly no expert on the New Testament, but would Jesus at the Last Supper have had some sort of a gold $400,000 chalice with gems, inlaid gems, stones? I thought Jesus, you think humble, poor. Maybe they broke out their best dishes, but did anybody have a $400,000 goblet? I mean, that's why this should be offensive. Some basilica trying to pass this thing off. Well, if you ever got under the glass and could pick it up, you probably turn it over. It would say "Made in China" at the bottom. I mean, they would serve this damn goblet in some episode of The Tudors, not at the Last Supper. I mean, maybe they're fake gems. Maybe they're fake gems from China, but I think they're real gems. If this thing's been sitting in the basilica for 1,000 years, they should combine this with the green bowl and actually have an orange juice and a Captain Crunch with the both of them. Okay, I can see why Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code is blasphemous or very offensive to many Christians. I certainly can see that, because if you forget, the basic premise is in the Da Vinci Code that Jesus had a bloodline. Mary Magdalene carried Jesus' baby. The bloodline, the direct descendants of Jesus still exist today. That's where they went with the Da Vinci Code, and that's what the Holy Grail is presented as. The Da Vinci Code. But in a good, what Dan Brown, and I think this is a good thing that comes out of the Da Vinci Code, is to get people to think in a different way as to what the Holy Grail is or is not. Even the Sophie in the beginning says, Holy Grail, magic dishes, Magic dishes? Yeah, of course. To say the Holy Grail is a cup or a bowl. I mean, ridiculous. Of course, it's ridiculous. The true meaning is going to be third level. So at least that is done in the Da Vinci Code, whether you hate it or disagree with it or think it's blasphemous. Dan Brown's saying you think about the. Of course, by the way, of course, Dan Brown's not trying to help anybody, guys. Absolutely a servant, a puppet of the system itself, in my opinion. Of course he is. But at least it's saying, hey, think about the what the Holy Grail may be in a completely different way. And in that respect, it's a good in that respect alone, it's a good thing. And because we're talking about the Da Vinci Code and the Mona Lisa plays such a big part of the beginning of the movie, this breaking news from yesterday. Breaking news from yesterday. Man dressed as old woman throws cake at Da Vinci painting. And apparently, kid. Ever see the apparently little kid on YouTube? Apparently, this is my first state fair. Apparently, he got the white cake all over the Mona Lisa. Guys, do I believe this for 1 second? This is legitimate? Of course I don't. Of course I don't. Somebody's throwing the rubber duck saying, well, it's symbolism, Matt. Talk about the symbolism. Absolutely, the way they do business, this would be some sort of symbolism. What it means? How the F am I supposed to know? Well, Matt, it's the sacred feminine. The cake looks white. Oh, it's got that. Is that the semen or the... Again, it's symbolism. It's the way they do business. No real man stuffed the damn cake up under his jacket and threw it at the Mona Lisa. It's all symbolism. And in terms of what they're trying to express, by my heel, I don't give a shit. Thanks for listening.